What is up, you beautiful people? You are very welcome along to Thursday night's late night agenda. It's been a bit of a weird one in Liverpool circles today. We're going to try and figure out what on earth went on with this Mats Wiefer story, who Liverpool are talking about in their meetings with the Gestifute agency, and a couple of other bits and pieces as always. Thank you guys for joining in. Appreciate your support. Don't forget, early doors, if you haven't, please do drop a like on the stream for us and do let us know what it is you want to go through tonight, because we're here to make you guys happy. Mark, how are you doing? Thank you for the first gift of membership of the night as well. Appreciate that. Shane, lovely to see you in, bro. Appreciate your support. Davino, always a pleasure. And happy 4th of July to all of our American viewers as well. Appreciate you guys showing your support and hope you're all having a lovely holiday. It is a public holiday in America, right? And also to those of you who took part in the democratic process in the United Kingdom today, well done to all of you guys as well who went out there and voted and had your say. Right, loads to go through. We've already teased our new studio to our Discord group, to our moderators in there, and we've got some positive reviews on it as well. A little sneak peek for them of what Ben has been working away on in the background for next season. So look, I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on at the minute. But before we get stuck into tonight, a little bit of a light-hearted comment. I seen this in the paper last night and it kind of made me laugh. Todd Cantwell was offered to Italian side Lecce by former Liverpool player turned agent Jose Enrique. The move was shared online though after Jose Enrique sent the message to the wrong person. Wouldn't exactly fill you full of confidence there, would I, having Mr. Jose Enrique representing you and then sending messages to the wrong person about a transfer that he's trying to get done for you? Bit of a weird one, but there you go. Todd Cantwell, Lecce, ruined by Jose Enrique sending the messages to the wrong people. It freaks me out that football business may actually be conducted this way as well, you know, simplistic things like that. Jamie King, how are you, mate? I'm good, thank you for asking. Appreciate your support. Petter said, Craig, prediction for Liverpool's transfer window. Much love from the Chelsea fan here in the Faroe Islands. I don't know what to predict, mate. I don't want to go into ranty mode because it is early doors in the window, but it is getting a bit confusing. So one subject that's winding me up is this insistence about Liverpool not looking for a number 6. And it just simply isn't true. So we're going to talk about Mats Wiefer and what happened today. Were we really interested? And how soon will he be a Brighton player? But there's one more part of it that just stinks to me. And it comes from a post, I guess, that was shared by the Mail. So Liverpool are not in for Mats Wiefer as they believe they have enough cover. And that was from Simon Jones of Mail Sport. It has to be poo-poo. It has to be absolute nonsense. Because we know we're in for a defensive midfielder. We've seen articles written in the Echo and many others to say the search has been ongoing and has entered its 3rd year now to try and find the solution to the defensive midfielder conundrum. Now, of course, Wataru Endo came in, did a very good job, and we're all happy to have him in the squad. But this narrative again that the club are trying to put out that we have enough cover in that area, we don't. And like we said yesterday, you got to let it be known online that you're not an idiot, that you can see through this as well, because we do need a reinforcement in that area and we need a reinforcement there quickly. If it isn't going to be Mats Wiefer, whom it isn't because he's off to Brighton, then who could it be? We'll talk about that tonight as well. Davino, member with us for 19 months. How are you, my friend? Been a while. How are we? How's the family? Hope we make some signings soon. Liverpool need to get the finger out. Hope we get a CDM. I think we will, and I think we are after one, but it gets a bit sketchy when you see so many conflicting reports today. And Fabrizio Romano has been absolutely dragged through the mud again today. And I'll talk about that in more detail in a while. But I woke up today to a lot of confusion around the Mats Wiefer situation. So if we wanted him, we surely could have made this deal happen. The player would know the manager very well, having worked together at Feyenoord. He's 24 years of age, a reasonable transfer fee. And if Liverpool wanted to go for him, I'm sure we could have got the deal over the line. I really don't know what the situation is with this story, but is our name being used as, I don't know, a way to make him look better? Make Brighton's get of the player look better? It all seems very confusing to me, and there are conflicting reports. Some people said that Liverpool tried frantically at the last minute to get Mats Wiever to change his mind and come from Feyenoord to Liverpool and not to Brighton. And then another outlet said that those attempts were in vain because he'd already given his word on the transfer to Brighton. And of course, that is exactly where he's going. €30 million deal there, and I just don't believe that he rejected us. I just don't. I'm sorry. I think this is just, again, a case of people in the media trying to undermine us and big up other people. If we wanted Mats Wiever, I believe Mats Wiever will be a Liverpool player. That simple. My bet's no transfers till late in the Euros and the Copa, said Robert Cosby. Thank you, Robert, for a super chat of the night. Appreciate your support, mate. I don't know, mate. I don't know when they're going to take place, but I do know that we need to start moving. I think even one signing at this point would calm fears, because a lot of people understand the situation. I would include myself in that we have had a whole new backroom team brought in, and we are playing catch up somewhat in this window. But Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, they've had time to settle into the roles. I know that they only officially started them in July, but they've kind of been double jobbing for a while, preparing for the roles. So I think that Liverpool's recruitment search would have been well underway. It's just a matter of when we pull the trigger. And while we're talking about calling people out, let me just call out Centre Devils here, a Manchester United fan account on Twitter who are absolutely just making shit up for clicks, and they need to be called out on it. They said, new in the last few hours, Matthias de Ligt has rejected Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain, and both clubs were told the player only wants Manchester United. Let me make this really clear. Liverpool had no intention, no want, no desire to go anywhere near Matthias de Ligt. He's overrated, overpaid, and of course he'll go to Manchester United because you're going to be the only chump stupid enough to pay him the money that he wants. You and PSG are welcome to him, but don't be using Liverpool as a way to try and make yourself feel better about how shitty life is at Manchester United right now. If we wanted de Ligt, he would crawl over broken glass to come and play for Liverpool, but he's going to end up at United because nobody else wants him. And these fan accounts trying to make this shit up to make us look bad is pathetic. Tell us we're in your head without telling us we're in your head. They took the post down because they knew they were caught lying. There's no way Liverpool were interested in Matthias de Ligt. No chance, no way, no how. So stop lying, basically, is where I'm going with that one. Mark, thank you for gifting another membership, mate. Appreciate you. Don't believe Simon Jones, said Alex Macklin. I don't believe him either, because it's just conflicting. The stories, mate, we've seen many stories to say Liverpool are looking for a defensive midfielder, but, and the one caveat to it has always been, we're not going to settle. Liverpool feel like whoever they bring in for the number 6 position has to be a clear and obvious upgrade on Wataru Endo or the options that are at the club. And I'm okay with that. Truly, I am okay with that as long as it ends in that player coming in. Who that player is, well, we're going to try and figure that out tonight. What we know for certain was that there was a report that Liverpool were holding a meeting with the Gestifute agency, which is George Mendes' agency, but we don't know what that was about. He represents a load of players that have been linked to Liverpool and some that are currently playing for Liverpool, and we'll go through that and try and figure it out in a while as well. A couple of other bits and pieces today that have been coming in. Paddy Power were speaking to Glenn Johnson, and I disagree with Glenn Johnson on this. Glenn Johnson said that Liverpool would bite your arm off right now for a top 4 finish next season. No, we wouldn't, Glenn. Nor would we do what you've talked about before, which is let Arne Slot be a sacrificial lamb for the real next coach to come in. I remember listening or reading about Glenn Johnson speaking to somebody, and they were basically, he intimated that Liverpool should just use Arne Slot as a sacrificial lamb, because nobody coming in after Klopp's going to be able to do the job right or win people over. It's just more nonsense. Liverpool would not bite your arm off for a top 4 finish. Maybe the owners would, but the fans want better than that. The fans want to see improvement season on season. And improvement on this season is above 82 points and finishing higher than 3rd place in the league. So I can't speak for every Liverpool fan in the chat, but I wouldn't bite your arm off for a top 4 finish now. That should be the minimum that we look for this season, not the objective. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but I just think that's mad. And look, I don't think Glenn Johnson's the worst of them by any stretch of the imagination. Glenn Johnson usually talks quite a bit of sense in my opinion, but I very much disagree with him on this, and I certainly wouldn't be biting your hand off for a top 4 finish now. As Robert said there, Robert Logie said, top 4 is a minimum expectation. Ryan said, Craig, did you hear De Ligt rejected Liverpool and PSG? Yeah, see, that's a lie, Ryan. I spoke about it a moment ago. I don't know if you came in just afterwards or not. It's a lie made up by a United fan account to try and make their fan base feel a bit better about life. And look, I get it. I understand it. If you can try and make out like Matthias de Ligt chose you over Liverpool, it kind of gives you a little bit of a boost. I get it. But it's also just made up and invented only in his head or her head, whoever runs that account. So yeah, don't worry about it, mate. PSG, they were apparently interested, but Liverpool have had no interest in Matthias de Ligt because he isn't good enough. Simple as that. His injury record's not great. He's moved around clubs quite a bit for somebody so young. He asked for a very, very high wage. All of that smacks of Manchester United, not Liverpool. If Liverpool wanted Matthias de Ligt, then he wouldn't be going anywhere near Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. But just whatever makes you guys feel better on that side of things, have at it. If you want to use Liverpool's name to make yourself feel better, work away. But just know, we'll call out your lies when we see them. Can't believe we're still waiting for Euro, said Ethan Bro FC. It truly is the one thing about this transfer window that has already really angered me. Everybody knows what is going to happen with Lenny Yoro. He is going to go to Real Madrid. It's just a matter of when Real Madrid sign him. And if they do it this year or if they wait one more season and get him on a free. Now look, his agent is George Mendes and Liverpool were meeting with that agency today. So maybe his name was mentioned in conversations. And I fully understand that Liverpool would want to be kept in the loop on the situation. But it's also been nice to see that Liverpool have already spoken that we're not basing our transfer business or our transfer targets on Lenny Yoro. If Lenny Yoro becomes available, that would be an added bonus. But yeah, we all know what's going to happen there. It's a little bit disheartening, I will admit. You know, when you see players linked with Liverpool and they end up at Real Madrid, we've walked that path before. But a lot of stuff today seems to be aimed at undermining us. And that's our job. As fans, we've every right to ask, expect, talk about, bitch about, whatever you want to say about the club. But we got to protect ourselves from the outsiders who are trying to belittle us. And again, these lies that are being spread are done so purely because they're concerned about us. So I take it as a compliment in some ways. Didn't even know it had been 4 months, said Steve G. Need Slot to be fully backed. I'm sure we're working it all out behind the scenes, but a signing soon would be nice. I think that would calm a lot of us down, Steve. A lot of us, mate. People in our Discord group as well were talking about the very same subject. And while we agree and understand that, yes, Liverpool want to get it right. And we have to have a bit of patience. Now, I'm not really blessed with patience, so I'm kind of having to bite my tongue a little bit. But I think you're right, mate. A signing would be nice. It would calm everybody down a little bit and start to give us an idea of what we might expect then in the market. Harry Mayhew, thank you so much, Harry, for your super sticker, mate. Really appreciate it. And he said, who do you think we will realistically sign? I tried to have a go at this one yesterday, mate. For me, I think Mark Gay makes absolute sense. 65 million quid, England international, Premier League tried and tested, right age profile, right side of the defence. It just ticks all the boxes for me. A player we've been long linked with. If you remember last season when we were still looking at centre-backs, he was the one that we were talking about as well. Himself and Inacio were probably the two most discussed. So I'd have him, no problem. Moving into midfield, look, Ederson is that guy for me. Now, some people still get confused thinking about Ederson and Manchester City. No, different Ederson, of course. We're talking about the Atalanta defensive midfielder Ederson. I'd love him. And you're talking about there about 100 million quid thereabouts spent so far between Mark Gay and Ederson in my hypothetical world. Then up top is the one area of the pitch that confuses me. Because we're pretty stacked. We do need competition for Mo on the right. But other than that, we're pretty stacked. All these links to left wingers they're only pointing to the idea that maybe Luis Diaz will move on. And again, we have to talk about that and acknowledge, is that true? Is that fake? We don't know. Rachel, thank you for gifting a membership as well. Really appreciate your support. And again, I'm sure that'll be greatly appreciated by the recipient. So look, let's talk about the Gestifute agency, if I can, for a minute. Because Liverpool, according to Spy and Cop today, were holding meetings with George Mendes' agency, the Gestifute agency. Now, we went through their list of players to try and figure out the ones that we think are most likely to involve a conversation with Liverpool. There are some players already that at the club, like Darwin, for example. He's represented by the Gestifute agency. Diogo Jota is represented by the Gestifute agency. But then we started to look at who could we potentially looking to sign that might be represented by that agency. And I've put together a list with Connor that we think could hold some water. So we want your thoughts on it. But before I get into it, Robert, thank you, Robert Cosby, for your super chat. Very kind of you. Said, Kvaratskhelia is a player I'd like to see come in and has shown so much skill, energy and intensity for Georgia in the Euros. Didi Hamann, speaking today, or at least quoted today, said something similar, that Kvaratskhelia has really impressed him, that he'd be a great long-term replacement for Mo. I know, before you point out, he operates on the left side, but doesn't have to. He can play on the right. He spoke about the fact that he's a very humble guy as well. And look, Kvaratskhelia wants to leave Napoli. Now, Antonio Conte seems to be digging his heels in. The agent of the player and the player's father have spoken about their desire to get Kvaratskhelia out of Napoli, but Antonio Conte swore that when he spoke with De Laurentiis, he was told maybe they'd lose Victor Osimhen, but there's no way that they're going to undermine him by selling Kvaratskhelia out from under him. It's going to come down to what happens when Kvaratskelia's agent sits down with Napoli. Napoli are a difficult club to negotiate with because of their president De Laurentiis. So I don't know if there's any future for Kvaratskhelia at Liverpool, but for the right price at the right time, absolutely, it should be something we look at. Right, so this list of players from the Gestifute agency. We've got Darwin Núñez, who's at the club. Pedro Neto is also represented by the Gestifute agency, so that's another potential one. Then we have João Neves, another player from Benfica who'd been linked to Liverpool. Lenny Yoro, which we've spoken about, he's also signed to the Gestifute agency. Diogo Jota, already at Liverpool. Ugarte is another player who's represented by the Gestifute agency. Antonio Silva, the young centre-back from Benfica, he signed up to that agency. Ryan Aït-Nouri, the Wolves defender and Algerian international, he's also signed up. And the last one was a bit of a curveball that our friends at Anything Liverpool suggested last week, when they said if Liverpool need another goalkeeper, that Rui Patricio is out of contract and is a free agent. So that could be another one. So of those players on that list, if we're talking about potential incomings, there's some interesting names there. João Neves is the one that jumps off the page to me straight away. Obviously very highly spoken of. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. What do you think the meeting was about? We're not giving the trophy to Manchester City. We're not receiving the trophy and lifting it up in the air. I don't know what that means, Bruno, mate. In your opinion, would be a fail of a window if we don't get at least 2 more signings? It's a failure of a window, Ryan, if we don't address the deficiencies. And that's the kindest way I can say it. I think we need at least 1 centre-back. Some people could make an argument for 2, but I think 1 would be fine. We do need a defensive midfielder. And as I've always said, the forward line might depend on what happens with players who are already at the club and their situations. There was one more. And Aït-Nouri, I think that would be an indication that Costas is going to be sold for me. If we're serious about Aït-Nouri, I think that'll be a sign that maybe we're looking to accept any bids that come in around the right number for Costas. Rachel said, Aït-Nouri sounds good. Look, I think Aït-Nouri would be a good piece of business, Rachel. An astute piece of business. But I want to know who you guys think that this meeting could have been about with the Gestifute agency. Now look, there are other players signed to that agency, but those were the ones we thought the most realistic to have any connection to Liverpool. Can you see Salah and Diaz staying? Said Brett Young. On Salah, I really don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the club's thought process is. I can only give you my own humble opinion, which is in order of preference for me. Sell, number 1. Renew, number 2. Let go on a free is the one option that I just can't stomach, quite frankly. I just think that's the one that's crazy. Didi Hamann reckons that Mo has 2-3 years left at the top level, maybe even more. So he thinks Liverpool should keep him around. For me, my concern would be, what if we are starting to see Mo and Father Time catch up? You know, it's a big risk to put another 2-3 years down on the contract and the money he's on, and he'd probably want a pay rise. So I don't know what happens there. With regards to Diaz, it's just an interesting one, I can see Diaz being a possibility to leave if Barca somehow free up the money. But you know what I can't understand, in all honesty? Barcelona should look at Nico Williams. Let's be frank about it. Like, if Barca come up with the money, Nico Williams should be the one they're looking at. Maybe they can't afford the wages, and look, there's a lot to say about that because 300 grand a week to Barcelona right now would be a significant amount of money. But they do seem to really like Diaz. Deco has mentioned him to a couple of journalists, and I don't know where Diaz's head is at. You know, he's been through a lot in the last year. I've been so impressed by how he's been mentally strong. I think the biggest problem he has right now is Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo's been so impressive at the Euros. And I went onto The Athletic last night to have a read through some of the comments, and the article was about Cody Gakpo. And I was genuinely baffled at the amount of people who still don't rate the kid, or still don't think he's good enough to win a league title with. I think Cody Gakpo looks like he's finally settling in now. And yeah. Sorry, I just got thrown off by something on my screen. Is everything okay? Stream coming through okay? I just got an update to show me that it mightn't be. So let me know if the stream isn't coming through okay for you guys. Gakpo is amazing. Frozen. I knew it. 1 second. Okay, that should be better. Sorry, folks. That should be better now. I swapped over. Sorry, folks. I was on the other broadband. I swapped back over to the newer one. So it should be good now. Sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, I was on the less stable broadband because we were taking a test yesterday and I swapped it back over. But should be good now. Apologies on that one. Let me get back into my notes. Oh, that's so frustrating as well because the numbers were flying there. We were closing in on 2,000 viewers. But hey ho, you are at the behest of technology. So I do apologise on that one, but hopefully we should be back and more stable now. I know we had 2K in the chat, Ben. I know, heartbreaking stuff, but we'll get back at it. Right, look, let's go through what we were talking about there. So, do you know what? I actually made a really good point as well when I was frozen there. Now I can't even remember what I was talking about. We were talking about Cody Gakpo. That's what it was. So for me, Cody Gakpo's had a really good end to the season. He's having a great Euros with the Netherlands and looks full of confidence. And I think he's ready to go. It genuinely baffles me the amount of people who still don't back the kid. I know he had a difficult time last year. He also had the birth of his first child, which is a big upheaval in anybody's life. But I think he's settled into the club really well now. Looks like he's so much more comfortable and confident coming in off that left-hand side. And I think we're okay to look at maybe moving Diaz on if the right offer comes in. But I'd be interested to know who you would start next season in the left wing position. If the season started, well, it won't be the start of the season because these guys will probably miss it, or be close to missing it. Who would you have a preference to on the left right now? Cody Gakpo or Lucho? Which one would you play on the left-hand side? Chris Tatton said, all right, fella, nice to have you back. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Gakpo is brilliant, said Rachel Todd. Gakpo, said Marwan. Gakpo is ace, said LFC Love. Stephen Iron said Gakpo, Lucho for Shane. I think a poll, Ben. Can we get a poll on this one? Who should start left wing next season? For the poll that we did vote on, the winning answer was 3 signings, by the way. 48% of you guys reckoned that we would need at least 3 signings or more. So I'm going to get Ben to put up that poll on Gakpo or Diaz because I'd love to see what you guys are thinking on this one. Do you know what? Of all the moaning I've done, of all the people that I've been hard on, I've always been kind to Gakpo. I've never thrown him under the bus, and I never understood why people did. I think Cody Gakpo now, we can see what he's about, that he's playing in the position that he feels more comfortable in on that left-hand side. Hopefully this is the end of the experiment of him as a false 9. So, look, the poll is up there. Vote away. Chris Tatton Music, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Said, whoever we do or don't sign, my concern is always how reactive we are rather than proactive. Just replacing players rather than improving year to year. Yes. So look, we're already behind the 8 ball, Chris, for me, because we've got to figure out the 3 contracts that should have been figured out a long time ago. Then we've got to figure out the goalkeeping department. What happens with Crevin Kelleher? Is Adrian San Miguel going back to Real Betis? If so, we need to bring in a number 3. What happens with Yaros? He's got 1 year to go on his Liverpool deal as well. So we need to sort out the situation of our other goalkeeper. Pedaluga is back at the club after his loan spell at St. Pat's was cut short because he wasn't doing very well. So we have to sort out what happens there. I do agree with you, mate. We are playing catch up all the time. And what we can't accept, Chris, is to get the loose ends tied up and be pitched it as a good idea or a successful window. A successful window is not getting back to parity. It is pushing ahead. And for me, we need more signings. So I'd love the contracts of Mo, Trent and Verge to be sorted out as soon as possible. But ultimately, we need 3 signings. And not 3 cheapskate signings. 3 signings, and it doesn't have to be the most expensive signings in the world, but 3 signings that we can all look at and go, yeah, I see it. I see the idea behind it. You know, and that's the likes of a Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister. They were signings we all looked at and went, yeah, I get them. I get those signings. Stevie Boy, super chat's flying in now, guys. Thank you. Stevie Boy said, do you think the contracts of Mo, Verge and Trent have anything to do with the transfer window so far? I would hope not. But of course, whilst they're not resolved, it is a looming factor for the club. It has to be. We do know that we're not going to leave ourselves short. So worst case scenario, some or all of them leave on a free. What we won't do is allow Verge to leave in this window, because that would leave us way too screwed. I think we could sell Mo, because I think we could bring in other options, other attacking options. Trent, I mean, look, we have Bradley at right back, but I still think we need to keep Trent around. So the fact that these are even a problem annoys me, because they should have been sorted out a long time ago. Matt, how are you, sir? Said, oh, sorry, I'm going to try that one again, Matt. Matt, how are you, bro? Welcome in. Hi, mate. Hope you're okay. Did you see Fab replying to Liverpool fans saying the signings will happen and not to stress as it's July? Yeah, I get that, but he's also full of shit. So, let me show you an example. Here's a post that went up from Footy Accumulators. Said, incredible scenes. Jadon Philogène's agent showed up at Barcelona offices unannounced, began a photo shoot in the car park, and was eventually asked to leave by Barcelona security. The name of the player is completely unknown to Barcelona directors, with the club mystified as to why they're being linked with a move for him. It's believed to be a PR exercise by the player's agent to link him with Barcelona and drive up demand. Then you look, who was talking about this player? Oh, that's right. It was Fabrizio Romano, who said that Barcelona, Ipswich, Palace and Everton were all in for Philogene, even though Barcelona have no clue about it. Now, what may have happened there? Could it be that the agent paid Romano and Romano just tweets any old shite as long as he's paid? That's most likely what happened, because he is greasy. I've said this so many times. Fabrizio Romano is just a mouthpiece for hire. He does the bidding of agents and football clubs, and he's a problem. I know lots of people love him because he gives transfer news, but he's a problem in my eyes. I hate him. I hate everything he stands for. He isn't a journalist, he's a rat. And by rat I mean all he does is squeal. Tell stories out of school, cause problems, divisions. I don't like him one bit. And I think this summer a lot of people have started to really question what his motives are, because he's full of it a lot of the time. And he absolutely has been linking this kid with Barcelona, even though Barcelona haven't got a clue about the kid. So, you know, I'll leave it up to you to make your mind up, but not for me. I've never been a fan. Machara, come back to Belfast soon. I missed it, said Nathaniel Armstrong. We won't be, mate. The last 2 live shows we're doing are these ones. The ones in Cardiff and Liverpool. After we finish those 2 shows, that's the end of the Anfield Agenda live show experience. So, or experiment, I should say. So if you do want to come and see us, you can get your tickets in the description or at the top of the chat right there. There's a link. The 2 shows are only 4 weeks away from this week, so we look forward to catching up with you all at them. And we're going to put on a fun night for you. Right, what else we got? We need signings quick, said Alex Macklin. Craig, I watched a clip of a 9-year-old Liverpool goalkeeper. He's something. Oh, I've seen that clip. Awesome. Awesome. Was it Lucho or somebody who was taking shots on him? That kid is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. What a young goalkeeper he is. He definitely has a bright future ahead. David Ornstein, 10 times better. I agree. David Ornstein's a proper journalist. I have the height of respect for David Ornstein. James Pearce, Paul Joyce, Melissa Reddy. Nothing but respect for all those journalists. But I've just always felt something just smelled a little off when Romano burst onto the scene. And, you know, it just, look, the man's entitled to earn a living. He's just not my cup of tea. Is Slot doing an interview tomorrow? He is indeed, yes. Arne Slot is addressing the media tomorrow from 11 a.m. And it is going to be broadcast as well. So do make sure that you guys check that out. Of course, I'll react to it when I do my video tomorrow at about 3:30. The 9-year-old could be the Kelleher replacement. I mean, don't put it past us, George. Now, genuinely though, have you seen the video? The kid's brilliant. Like, what a young goalkeeper. Absolutely phenomenal. Right, I want to get back to talking about a bit of a strange subject. So, I want your thoughts on this. So, Stake, who I believe are a betting company, have done their South American GOAT 11. Best South American 11 of all time. And there's a few massive players missing. So let me run through the 11 for you real quick, and then let me know if you think this is a good 11 or not. In goal, Dida of Brazil. At right back, Cafu. At left back, Roberto Carlos. Centre backs, Thiago Silva and Passarella of Argentina. In their midfield, they have Zico and Vidal anchoring the midfield. Maradona on the right, Ronaldinho on the left, with Pele and Leo Messi up top. Couple of people missing from that list. One of them, I think Alisson should be in consideration. But also, no Neymar, no original Ronaldo, and no Luis Suarez. Now, of course, you're looking at the front two, Messi and Pele, and you're going, alright, fair enough. If ever someone's going to miss out, it's because Messi and Pele Messi, Pele and Maradona are in there. So that's fair enough, like, but how did Vidal sneak his way into that midfield? I think there's been better central midfielders come out of South America than Arturo Vidal, personally. No, Kaká. Yeah, Kaká's missing as well. Although, to be fair, it's hard to get into that front line when you look at Ronaldinho, Pele, Messi, Maradona. It's fair, like, it's hard to break into that 11. CR7 is the real Ronaldo? No, he's not. The real Ronaldo was the original Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is just the Ronaldo that can't go to America. Right. Let's get back talking. So, Nico Williams, managing Barca, who were a Barcelona fan account on social media, reckon that Nico Williams prefers to join Barcelona over the Premier League. And he's also said that Juan Laporta has given the green light for this signing. I don't know how Juan Laporta could give the green light for the signing when they don't have the money. But do I believe that Nico Williams would prefer to go to Barcelona? Yeah, I can see a world where that's the case. You know, he's already playing in La Liga, doing really well there. Barcelona, one of the top 2 clubs in La Liga. I can see a world where he wants to go there, absolutely. But I don't know if they have the money to make it happen. And the clocks are ticking. So this is why I'd say even further, if Liverpool have any intent over Nico Williams, they should get cracking. And I know he's away at the Euros at the minute, but we should be in the ear of his agent. Because this kid is going to be a superstar, and you can get him for £45 million. it should be a no-brainer for us. Even if it's looking to the Mohamed Salah long-term successor, I think we should be all over it. Mate, I agree with the view of Fab. Was just asking if I'd seen it. Wanted to ask, what's the biggest pain you felt when a player you wanted didn't come to Liverpool when they were linked to us? Oh, good question. Caicedo. I think probably Caicedo, really, because I remember looking at that last summer and thinking that's the missing piece. We have a title-winning team then. So yeah, I think Caicedo one really was frustrating. Nabil Fekir, it didn't hurt too much. I just thought it was, again, we didn't fill the position that we were looking at somebody in. But yeah, I think Caicedo and Bellingham are probably the two. Bellingham, again, I can understand the whole Real Madrid thing, but Caicedo, I feel like we could have got that done. I feel like anybody with half a brain could have convinced Caicedo that Liverpool was a better strategic move for his career than going to Chelsea. So yeah, those two probably. Caicedo, Bellingham, they're probably the two for me. But I can understand the Bellingham one. Let me say that. I can understand, cards on the table, Liverpool, Real Madrid. He wanted to go to Real Madrid. There's no shame in that. But I can't understand it with Caicedo. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like, put me in a room with his agent and I'd have got that deal done. Is Lucho better on the left or right? Depends what you want from your winger. Do you want them cutting inside, attacking the half space, or do you want them going around the full backs and putting in crosses from the byline? I think we, in the modern day, get too hung up on inverted wingers, inverted fullbacks, inverted everything. Sometimes it's good to just see a wide player attack the line, get to it and put a cross in, or make a fullback shit himself. So I don't mind which side. I'd say instinctively probably better off the left, but I do think even coming off the left, his end product isn't enough for me. I think it's frustrating at times. What would be your ideal starting midfield in a 4-2-3-1 formation for us next season without new signings? Okay, Jonathan, I'm going to have a crack at that one for you, bro. 4-2-3-1. Right, so Conor Bradley at right back, Andy Robertson at left back, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate at centre back. You can make an argument for Jarell Kwanzaa, absolutely, but that would be my preference if both were at full fitness and ready to go. Into midfield, Trent and Endo in the two midfield positions. In the three, McAllister as the central player, Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right, and Darwin through the middle. And I know that's harsh on Dominic Szoboszlai, but honestly, I think that's probably the best way to set up in a 4-2-3-1 with the players we have. Bradley at right back means Trent into the middle alongside Wataru Endo, because I don't like seeing Alexis McAllister shoehorned back into that position. I think he's way better in the number 10 role. So yeah, that would be mine. Alisson, Bradley, Robbo, Van Dijk, Konate, Endo, Trent, Salah, McAllister, Gakpo, Nunes. That's a weak team. Someone asked me my opinion, Shay, and I gave it, mate. I'm not asking you to agree with it. I'm just answering the question from my perspective. And it isn't a good enough team, by the way. You're right, which is why we need signings. Out of curiosity, what could have been the reason Newcastle offered Anthony Gordon of all the teams in the Prem to us? Oh, the fact that he's a Liverpool fan. And I'm going to talk about Anthony Gordon now in a minute. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about talking about him today. I think it would have been a case of, it would have been an easy sell to the player. So if he had got a deal with Liverpool and they said, look, Liverpool want you, I can absolutely see how they could have made that happen. So yeah, I think that's why, most likely. That, and they knew that we had a lot of wiggle room with regards to the ability to spend money. And it would have been about 70 million quid based off the numbers we've seen thrown around. Frank Collins, thank you so much, Frank, for your super chat. Really kind of you, mate. Said, I'm getting a bit worried about transfers. So am I, but I'm doing my best to stay upbeat and positive, mate. I'm doing my best to come on every day and not, rant. But I'm not somebody who's blessed with patience. And it worries me when we start to see other clubs get into gear, because we are playing catch up. And I guess I'll take it all the way back to what I said about Glenn Johnson earlier on. Glenn Johnson said that he thinks Liverpool will bite your hand off for a top 4 finish next season. And I just don't understand how that's the mindset of anybody. We finished 3rd. We're not going to lose any players that we don't want to lose. So there's no reason why we should be going in expecting anything less than improvements. I know we've changed the coach, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go backwards. It might take us a little bit longer to get into a full rhythm, but the fixtures have been relatively kind to us at the start of the season as well. So there is a chance for us to get into a rhythm there as well. So yeah, for me, improvements have to be 82 points better than that. Like Arne Slot said, he wants to come in and he wants to beat 82 points and he wants to finish higher than 3rd. That's the type of pushback or the type of spirit that I want to see. So yeah, give me Arne Slot's comments over Glenn Johnson's any day of the week, because I wouldn't bite your hand off for top 4 now. That would be bare minimum stuff. The owners might. A number 6 at Valencia called Pepelu is one of the next big things in the 6th position. He's 24 years of age, which is perfect for us. You should check him out, mate. Thank you. I always appreciate little hints like that and players to have a look at, and I will do my best to try and remember. So I'm not going to remember his name, but I will look for the number 6 of Valencia. I'll remember that much. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Right, let's have a look at the poll. We asked you guys, who should start left wing next season? And this is mad, because we're in sync on the channel. Us, we all seemingly think similarly. I'm with you on Cody Gakpo. 82% of the Anfield Agenda viewers reckon that Cody Gakpo should start at left wing. That isn't replicated if you look on The Athletic or in some of the other comment sections. I don't understand what people are looking at a lot of the time. Cody Gakpo has finished the season strongly, went into the Euros and done really well. I don't understand how this is even a debate at the minute. He should 100% be the starting left winger for me next season, and seemingly for 82% of you guys as well. Right, couple of things, my friends. If you haven't, please do drop a like on the stream for me. We've a really good crowd in tonight. Let's try and get up close to 1,000 likes again. We haven't done it in a while, so if you can, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. As you can see, we have gone past 262, sorry, I was taking 100,000 away there. 262,000 subscribers. And I want to just say one thing to you. We're always going to keep striving to make you guys proud and do you guys well, because we believe you need to be... I believe it's my responsibility to make sure that you guys feel proud to be part of our community. And you guys have been absolutely awesome and supportive of us. So thank you for that. Amazing to come in tonight and see 1,700 people back in the chat. It really does lift the spirits, so thank you so much. We're watching all the way from Botswana. Love the content, mate. Keep up the good work. Absolute legend. Thank you so much, Thabo. All the way from Botswana. By the way, it looks like a beautiful country. I've seen lots of beautiful pictures of Botswana and the wildlife. It looks incredible, mate. So thank you for dropping in. What's your dream signing for Liverpool if one can happen? Dream signing, Musiala. Bellingham's not going to happen because he's just moved. So Musiala would be incredible. Wirtz would be great as well. But honestly, I think Nico Williams, that's the one that would really, 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 really make me happy, and it would show real intent. And I think it fits into the profile of what we want to do. A young player who has experience but can still improve for the right fee. I know his wages are hefty, a rumoured 300 grand a week asking, but you balance that out with the transfer fee, and I think it's a very feasible deal. Portland, Oregon in the house. Welcome in, Yusuf. Lovely to see you, my friend. Lots of upgrades coming to the channel, said Ben. New studio is on the way. Oh, yes, it is. And the new studio, honestly, I think it's Ben's best work yet. And I don't say that lightly. I really do think it is. More action here, Craig, than Liverpool's transfer market. Yeah, it's not great. You know, if I said to you what was really going on in my head now, you'd probably all just stop watching. Because I'm pretty angry and frustrated with how slow we're being again. And I don't like these narratives that are starting to come out now about Liverpool losing these transfer battles. Like the Mats Vifer story. The crap that came out from that United fan account earlier on about De Ligt as well. All painted to undermine Liverpool. We need to show some strength. And I'm sure Michael Edwards isn't panicking, and I'm sure that there is a plan, but that plan needs to be put into action in some way, whether it's even getting the contract renewal sorted out. Can we chat a bit about Carvalho? Certainly. We talked about Fabio last night. In fact, I'm going to ask Ben to put a poll up. So we did ask who should start left wing next season. The final results of the poll are that 81% of you guys think it should be Cody Gakpo, with the remainder thinking Lucho should start at left wing, I should say. Sorry, not left back, left wing. Ben, can you get a poll up? Fabio Carvalho, keep, loan, sell, and see what people think. And then we'll have a conversation about... Did I say Cody Gakpo? Sorry. Slow it down, Craig. Slow it down. Fabio Carvalho. Can we get a poll up on him? Keep, loan, sell. And we'll see what the audience think. We need to be the club to sign their players early in transfer windows to give them more time to bed in now. So yeah, there's kind of... It's a catch-22 situation, Sean, at the minute, mate. We are that club that needs to get players in as quickly as possible to work with a new manager. But we're also a club that has had a lot of change behind the scenes, and that will probably just add to the delays. So Arne Slot only came in. He's still getting his backroom team assembled. The under-21 players started to come back to the AXA training facility on Monday. Tomorrow is when some of the senior players start to report back as well, and that will be staggered then, of course, over the summer. So yeah, we're up against it, and that's before we talk about the pre-season over in America, where, you know, teams have tended to not do too well after they've had pre-seasons in America. So we can't have a slow start. We haven't done any transfer business yet, and we know players are leaving the club and have left the club. So we've lost Thiago and Matip. I mean, how much losing there is there for Thiago, fair enough, but they're gone. Adrian looks like he's about to depart, and we still haven't sorted out a single contract. I do wonder some days what on earth they're at. Like, what are they working on? You know, because there's no reason that we shouldn't be getting Mohamed Salah's contract figured out. He's on holidays now. Surely this is the time you're speaking to Rami Abbas and figuring out the path, whether it's an extension, a renewal, a sale, or sorry, extension, a sale, or, you know, he runs down his contract. But we should get a better idea of the bigger picture. And remember, again, £18.7 million. That's the number that the Echo and many others were boasting about. That Liverpool have freed up £18.7 million annually off our wage bill. Think about that. £18.7 million freed up off the wage bill. And we haven't really even weakened all that much by that. Thiago played 6 minutes last year. Matip, yes, that's going to be a miss. But he was also a free signing, so understandable. And Adrian San Miguel, getting that 60 grand a week off the club's books cannot happen quick enough for me, because it's a sin that he's been paid 3-4 times more than Kelleher. So yeah, that's all madness. 18.7 million quid. That's almost, what, 10 million's 200 grand a week. So 400 grand a week nearly. So 380 grand a week, which would cover Nico Williams' wages without us even having to eat more into our wage structure. And that's then you got the transfer fee of 45 million. It starts to look like a very doable deal. Could you handle another Arthur Mello type signing? No, I wouldn't. I'd lose my goddamn mind. Any more of these... Well, I have a phrase that I'm not going to use on the stream for them. Any more of these sticking plaster signings just is not going to cut it. For instance, the number 6 position. This is now Liverpool's 3rd year looking at a number 6. 3 years we've been trying to replace Fabinho. in total, or look to the future and bring in somebody to eventually replace Fabinho. This is our third year looking. And we're supposed to believe, yet again, that there's nobody in world football that can come in and be better than Endo. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that pup. There's absolutely players that can go out there and do a better job, or at least increase the competition, or take some of the load off with Toro Endo, who, by his own admission, thinks Liverpool should probably bring in another number 6. The centre-back situation is a goddamn farce. How we didn't sign one last year is a disgrace. And again, we're trying to hear that the club are looking, we're thinking about it. Fuck looking and thinking about it. Get it done. We needed a centre-back 2 years ago. Now you're just taking the piss. So, we need these things done. Go get Mark A. Get that done as soon as England are out or win the Euros or whatever happens. Just get Mark A sorted. Premier League tested. Probably adapt a little bit quicker than a signing coming from overseas. Ready to hit the ground running. Bring him in. On top of that then, yes, the forward line is going to be a fluid situation. I do understand and admit that that is probably the one that we have the most wiggle room with. But we still have to figure out the long-term future for Mo. Is there going to be a bid coming in for Diaz? And if so, how are we going to react to that bid? And what are the options to bring somebody in as a replacement? Gary Smith, don't trust the owners to ever spend, but be honest, but Edwards has always moved in the shadows with transfers. We definitely need 3 or 4 additions. So, I agree with pretty much every word you've written, Gary. I trust Michael Edwards to get the job done. But Michael Edwards can only operate with the amount of money he's given. So, Edwards will try to find that perfect signing. You know, the one that looks good on the spreadsheets, the one that looks good from the data analytics standpoint. And I trust them. I trust them implicitly. I'm over the moon Edwards is back involved with the club. Richard Hughes, I think, was an astute appointment as well. But the elephant in the room, which isn't me for once, is I don't trust the owners. Not one bit. Not one tiny little bit. And I still don't understand how people still give them the benefit of the doubt on transfers. You can give them the benefit of the doubt as owners. Of course. I'm not here to tell you that FSG are the worst owners in the Premier League or anything even close to that. They get a score of probably 7 out of 10. But the remaining 3 points that they haven't are all about transfers. They're cheap. I don't understand why people get so offended when I say that. They are cheap. And nothing is going to convince me otherwise, because we have a sample size of, I can only remember the numbers for the last 6 years, but we have a sample size of the last 6 to 8 years where we consistently spend 40 million quid net. Now, there has been a bit of an uptick in that in recent seasons. Last season we spent about 90 million net, and the season before I think about 60. And they were rebuild seasons, where still we were outspent by 5 other Premier League clubs. They can talk and tell the world that they want to win, but sometimes actions are what speak. And I don't understand how anybody still gives them the benefit of the doubt over signings. They're full of it. They're cheap. They've done brilliant work at the club. The infrastructural projects have been incredible. The way they've redeveloped outside of Anfield has been brilliant. The people that they've brought into work at the club have been brilliant. I do give them a lot of praise. I know it doesn't seem like it at times, but I do. But they are cheap. And nothing is going to convince me otherwise of that until he starts spending. First super chat. What a name, by the way. Hypocritics. What a great name. First super chat. How important will Harvey Elliott be next season? And do you think this season will be his best? Well, firstly, I'm honoured that I'm your first super chat, mate. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, look, I love Harvey Elliott. And I think he showed last season why he should be in that team more than he has been. And I think Jurgen even admitted that it was one of his regrets of his time at Liverpool, that he didn't get to give Harvey Elliott more opportunities and more playing time. He's brilliant. And for me, he should be getting into that team ahead of Curtis Jones every day of the week. I don't even understand how it's a debate. Jones should be sold. Let's call a spade a spade. He should be sold. He had a brief purple patch where he played well, but more often than not, he's frustrated and not delivered. So I get it. He presses well. Brilliant. Great. He's a scouser. I get all of that. But ultimately, I think we can improve. And I don't like Curtis Jones in the squad. I don't see where he ever nails on a play starting every week. I don't think he's going to be good enough. And we have to still address the fact that he himself has said he might be carrying this injury or having to manage it for a while. So there are some decisions that the club should make, in my opinion, that we need to be more ruthless on. I think Szoboszlai will shine under slot in a 4-2-3-1, tucking in as a second number 10 alongside Maka. I also really want to get Gay and Nico Williams, said Squeaky Clean. Thank you, mate, for your 4 months with us as an Ultra member, and thank you for your comment. So, I think it is going to be interesting to see where Arne Slot wants to utilise Dominik Szoboszlai, because there is a chance he could end up on the right-hand side. You know, if Mo departs, I could see a world where in the right system he operates there, because he did it for Leipzig and he did it very well. So let's wait and see what happens with that one. He's an interesting one, Szoboszlai, because he's got all the talent in the world. He's still really young, and I think he just looks exhausted. So hopefully when he gets that break after the Euros with Hungary, he comes back refreshed and ready to go and has an injury-free campaign where we really get to see what the kid's about, because he's a great footballer. He's got the ability to do Kevin De Bruyne, Steven Gerrard type stuff. We just need to see it a little bit more consistently. But that will also come with familiarity of his teammates, with the movements they make, with the system that the coach is going to implement. So look, there are a lot of positives going into this season. What we did last summer was some good business. Alexis McAllister was an incredible signing. Szoboszlai, great signing. Gravenberch, I think, will look like a bargain in the longer term as well. So I'm happy with that business, but my biggest gripe is that we're this close, and we're always this close. We're always just that little bit away. And this year it's a centre-back and a defensive midfielder. If we just sorted out those 2 positions in this window and didn't lose a forward, I could accept that going into next season. You know, we need to look at the keeper situation as well, but that's a fluid situation that will develop over the summer. But just those 2 positions, going out there and getting the best centre-back that we can and getting the best defensive midfielder that we can, I think we're back as title challengers. I genuinely do. Look around this season. Manchester City are in a bit of trouble. And I don't mean the financial charges. I mean, they're in a bit of trouble. De Bruyne looks like he's at the tail end of his career, where he's not able to play as much as he used to. They are going to lose their goalkeeper, Ederson. He's heading off to Saudi. It looks like they're going to stick with Ortega as the number 1. Good keeper, but still questions. Then they've got the Savinho, the forward they're bringing in as well. He's got to adapt. I don't think they're actually going to strengthen all that much this summer, based off what we're seeing. Arsenal, they worry me, because they're a club that look like they have serious ambition and a good strategic project of who they want to sign, when, and how much they pay. So if they get Nico Williams, we're in trouble. We're in big, big trouble. They look like they're going to get Calafiori. 50 million quid. We weren't actually even at that conversation. You know, when it came out yesterday, it was Chelsea and Arsenal, and Liverpool weren't even there. We weren't serious. So what are we doing? Eddie Cox Wilkins. I'm okay, thank you, mate. I'm good. What was the secret meeting about? So, Liverpool had a meeting with the Gestifute agency today, according to reports. And that agency is run by George Mendes. So what we did is we compiled a list of players that are either at Liverpool or could be potentially of interest to Liverpool from the Gestifute agency. We went through their books earlier on and went through the list of the players that are signed to them. We picked out ones that we think could potentially be of interest to us. So let me run through it and see what you think. So Darwin Núñez is one player that's signed to Gestifute that's already at Liverpool. Then we have Pedro Neto, who is a forward that has been spoken about and linked to Liverpool for a while. You would rightly have concerns about his injury track record and that, but he's a damn good player. So Pedro Neto is one. Another player that obviously has links to Liverpool is João Neves from Benfica. Again, spoken really highly about, and somebody who I believe could make it in the Premier League. So Lenny Yoro is another one, albeit he's going to go to Real Madrid, but maybe Liverpool were just trying to figure out how far along that deal is, how likely it is that Real Madrid can come up with the money to make Lille happy. Then there's Diogo Jota, who's of course at Liverpool already. Manuel Ugarte is also represented by the Gestifute agency. He's been strongly linked with United this summer. Antonio Silva, the young Benfica centre-back, who's always been my dream centre-back signing. Ryan Aït-Nouri and Rui Patricio. Patricio could be a clever third-choice goalkeeper, or even a second choice if we do lose Adrian and Kelleher. Maybe buys us a little bit of time then to see how Jaros develops, Pitaluga as well. But we need to sort out Jaros' contract because he's going into his last year. And Aït-Nouri, although it's believed today's meeting wasn't about Aït-Nouri, he's still represented by that agency and is still a player that's been linked to Liverpool, and one that I think most of us would be okay with. What have we got? Based upon what I've seen at the Euros, the 4-2-3-1 system doesn't work, so I'm rather concerned with how Slot is going to make that work. I don't think you can flatly just say a system doesn't work, to be fair. You know, systems come in and out of fashion. Football is cyclical in styles and stuff, but the 4-2-3-1 system, I mean, I think it's actually a good system for the players that are at the club at the moment. But Arne Slot doesn't only play that system. He also operates the same system Jurgen did, a 4-3-3, with an inverted fullback. So I think we'll be okay. I wouldn't get too caught up in the formation yet until we see how we line up in pre-season. We're going to get a look at Liverpool against Betis, Arsenal, Manchester United, and I think Sevilla. Isn't that the other friendly? So look, we'll get to see the lads and we'll get to see what way he's lining up. But I'm sure he's going to be fluid and mix around formations. It's more about the calibre of our bench and the strength and depth for me this season. Carvalho and Somerville swap deal. They would be getting a player who has proven himself at the championship level and will be getting an upgrade, in my opinion. I don't know enough about Somerville to know if he's going to be good enough for Liverpool. Carvalho, let me actually go back to the poll on Carvalho. So we asked you guys to vote earlier on. Ben put a poll up to say, Fabio Carvalho, keep, loan or sell. And 56% of you guys think keep. And I think it's certainly worth giving him a season. Half a season even. He never really got an opportunity at Liverpool to play regularly. He's gone on various loans. Some of them successful, some of them not successful. But we know the manager likes him. The manager tried to bring him to Feyenoord. And I think the manager will have a look at him. If he can step up, we may not need another forward addition, because between all the number 10s we have and the versatility of the players who are at the club, with Ben Doak as well coming down the line, Carvalho could be very handy for us this season, but he needs to show he deserves to be still at the club. So I think he deserves to get the opportunity, and then it's going to be on him to prove himself. Do you think we will bring in Nico Williams? I haven't got a clue, mate, and I've been honest all the way through this transfer window. I can only tell you what I want, what I read, but I really don't know. And anybody who tells you that they do know in this window, I think's lying to you. Journalists have been great about telling us who we're not interested in, but they don't seem to know who we are, and that's okay as well. I'd rather that than leaks everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. I think we should be looking at him. I know I think it makes sense. You know, the numbers stack up, the age stacks up, but I get the feeling that he would prefer a move to Barcelona, and I can totally understand that as well. You know, he's playing in La Liga, the weather's a lot better over there. Barcelona, once the new camp is done, have a refurbished new camp to go back into, and they're trying to get the club back to where they believe it should be. They do have financial concerns though, and that's what gives us some time and some ability to maybe go out there and strike quickly. So some of these deals I do feel like we need to get moving if we want them. If we want an Nico Williams, we can't let it become a bidding process, as in for his wages or whatever. We got to get it done quickly. Any news on Ederson? The only thing that keeps coming up on Ederson is that the club have had contact with his agent on a few occasions. That's it. There's been no indication that the club have made contact with Atalanta, despite what Tudo Atalanta have been saying for weeks, that they expect an offer to come in from Liverpool. The only real interest in a midfielder from Atalanta has been Juventus for Coop Miners, and they want to get him in, and I think they will. So him, Kefren Thuram, and I can't remember the other signing Juventus are going to bring in, But it looks like they're the ones. Oh, actually, they brought in Douglas Luiz, haven't they? Yes, so Douglas Luiz. So yeah, other than that, I've not seen anything but Atalanta and us at all. Yeah, sorry, I wish I had more. There was that mad link to Ademola Lookman a while back, but I can't see that being true. Could Szoboszlai be a contender for a right-wing Salah replacement? I smell a poll, Jonathan. I smell a poll. Ben, let's end this poll because it seems like everybody wants to keep Fabio Carvalho, and that's cool. What do we think? Can we get a poll on Dominic Szoboszlai? Could he play right wing? Just yes or no. Could Dominic Szoboszlai become the right winger? Because he played in a similar position at Leipzig. He has most of the attributes required. But I'm interested. Yeah, I am genuinely interested to see what you guys think about it. I'd be on the fence on it, to be honest with you. Player plus cash for Gordon. Oh, I haven't spoken about Anthony Gordon yet. Don't worry, I'll get back to Anthony Gordon in a couple of minutes. Let's just talk through this poll for a bit and then I'll mention Anthony Gordon again because I don't think we've heard the last of this deal. Slot signed because he told the owners he won't spend this summer. I mean, look, mate, you don't know that's true. I don't know that's true. I equally want to moan about the owners, trust me. But I don't think Arne Slot is going to sabotage his own career by coming in and intentionally agreeing to not being backed. You know? Now look, he may have been told what the lay of the land is financially, and maybe, like Jurgen said, he agrees to work within the parameters that the owner set. But I don't think he's going to be as owner-friendly as Jurgen was. I think he will speak up a bit more if he doesn't like what he's seeing. Right, so we'll let that poll run in the background on Dominic Szoboszlai. Excuse me. So let's talk about Gordon, Anthony Gordon. So we've all seen what happened over the past week, that Newcastle offered Anthony Gordon to Liverpool and they wanted Jarell Quansah going the other way. There was some indications that Liverpool may have been willing to include Joe Gomez in that deal, but what seems to be the case is that it's turned Anthony Gordon's head. And I warned Newcastle fans about this at the time. Newcastle look like they're frantically trying to get a new contract in front of Anthony Gordon to sign. I would imagine that if he's representative has anything about them, the only way they're signing that new deal is with a cast iron buyout clause in it. Now they could say that that buyout clause isn't allowed to be activated till next year, which would keep Gordon for another summer. But it does seem like his head has been turned because reports have been coming out of the England camp to say that he's been talking about the potential deal and likes the idea of it with his fellow England teammates. I think Anthony Gordon will jump at the chance to join Liverpool. And now that it's sort of been teased to him, I can absolutely understand how he'd be getting onto his agent and saying, can we make this happen? Can we make it happen? And I don't say that with any disrespect to Newcastle. I absolutely believe that Anthony Gordon's enjoying himself in Newcastle. Newcastle, great city, lovely people, good football team, but he is a Liverpool fan. And if he could get a move to a team that, again, with all due respect to Newcastle, is a bigger club in the Champions League again, I think he'd do it. It's just a matter of, can we get the deal done? The number is 70 million quid. That's more acceptable to me than the 100 million that was previously spoken about, which I thought was nonsensical. But he still wouldn't be my first choice. I still would go for Nico Williams. But with him, you do again, like Mark Gay that I mentioned, you've got somebody who knows the league, still has some growth with regards to his potential, still has some finishing touches to add in for the end product. Yeah, I can see why it makes sense, but it depends how much he's going to kick up a fuss, because he has every right to go to Newcastle and go, you tried to fuck me. You tried to shaft me and sell me because you needed to bring in money. So whatever they say to him, you're not going to change that fact. He knew he was surplus to requirements because they had financial concerns and they were offering him about. That's not going to sit well and land well with him and his agent. And he's homegrown too. Yeah, absolutely. It ticks another box in that regard as well. Look, Anthony Gordon would be a good signing. Absolutely, I'd be more than on board with it. Just, I view Nico Williams as such a talent that he would always be my number one choice. But Nico Williams, Kvaratskhelia, Anthony Gordon, all realistic, all reasonable, all players that potentially want moves as well. 300 grand a week though. Are we talking about Nico Williams? Right. I want to try and pitch this to you on the Nico Williams deal. We, as normal people, rightly just hear headline numbers. We hear a transfer fee and we hear a wage. But that's not how it's put onto the club's books. So every player is put on the books as a depreciation asset that is amortized over the course of their contract. So the easiest way to explain this is, if Liverpool signed Nico Williams for £45 million and gave him £300,000 a week, that roughly equates to about, what's that? Hang on. 9 million, about 15.5 million pound a year is what it will cost Liverpool to sign Nico Williams if he signs a 5-year deal. 9 million quid a year for the transfer fee and then the wages. So it is absolutely doable on our books, because remember, we freed up £18.7 million per season by the players that have already left. Joel Matip, Thiago Alcantara and Adrian San Miguel. That's already given us the money that we can spend that money on him. So it's easily doable, even at the higher wage bracket, without eating into our existing wage budget. It's doable. But we only think of the headline numbers, which is of course understandable. We shouldn't have to be accountants. Thank you for your super chats. I don't know how to pronounce this name. What do you reckon is the reason Liverpool consistently wait so late in the window to do business? Surely, seeing the likes of Calafiori linked to rivals has got to light a fire under them to do something. Love you, Craig. Thank you. Why do we wait so late? In previous seasons, I think it's been a mixture of a couple of things. Jurgen living in denial for a while about what we actually need. Remember, he denied we needed a midfielder, and then he signed Arthur Melo as a desperate last ditch when he finally admitted that everybody else was right and that we needed a midfielder. And look, I'm not here to knock Jurgen. I love Jurgen. Same with the centre-back. We very, very, very clearly needed a centre-back. And what was our solution? Last-minute panic for Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies. Absolute horseshit. Waste of money. Stupid signings. Brain dead. So I don't know, mate. But again, we're supposed to be dealing with the creme de la creme here. We're supposed to have the best in the business working for us. So the urge is there for people to go, wait, calm down, relax. Loads of time left in the window. And I get that. But you're not talking to people who haven't been burned before. As Liverpool fans in the transfer market, we've had a lot of letdowns. We've gone from Moise Caicedo and a potential £115 million deal to then not being able to get the backup to him in Lavia, to then going out and signing with Toro Endo. And look, not knocking Endo, he's a very valuable asset to the team and he's a lovely fella. But that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with cheap owners, and I can only repeat myself so many times. It's never about the lack of attractiveness of the football club. It's always about John W. Henry, Tom Werner, Mike Gordon, seeing what they deem as value. And they're cheap. So telling people to be calm and wait to see how the window pans out is fine, normally. But we've been burned a few times by waiting around, and it hasn't ended well for us. Couple of the seasons we rolled the dice. One of them worked. We got Champions League football because Alisson scored a brilliant header against West Brom. And then the season before last, when we didn't bring in a midfielder, well, we ended up relying on Bajcetic, who did as best as he could, but we ended up in the Europa League. And that cost them money. So not spending cost them money. And whether you want to attract sponsors, players, build yourself up as a brand, whatever you want to do, winning is an important part of it. Build a big squad, keeping players happy. It's easier when you're winning stuff. So I get it. We aren't Real Madrid or PSG. But we have a lot of ability to spend. And they don't. And I'm sick of hearing about the perfect. It's like we all have a friend that is 35, 36 and still hasn't settled down. because they have this ridiculous vision of their future husband or wife, and it's this perfect person with a perfect job and a perfect ass and a perfect financial situation with a perfect sense of humour, but these people don't exist. And it feels at times with our owners, that's what we're waiting for. The perfect, God-given, best number 6 that's ever graced the planet, that's also available for 20 million quid, who's really young, can take a low wage and can be improved by the football club. That's what we're waiting for. But sometimes that's okay, and it is okay when you bring in a Bobby Clark, or you bring in a Cade Gordon, or you bring in players for the future at a younger age. But sometimes you've just got to go out and splurge. You know, you've got to treat yourself. You've got to go, fuck it, I'll worry about paying the credit card bill next month. I'm going out and getting myself something new and shiny because we need it. Sometimes it's good for the soul. It's good for the morale. It's good for belief. But no matter how many times I say it, I still get people pushing back telling me that I'm too hard on the owners. I'm not. They're cheap. And they need to stop being cheap. Because you can't always be the smartest guy in the room. You can't always moneyball a situation. Sometimes things are tried and tested because they work. And buying talented players works. In my opinion, Kudus is somebody I would want. The problem with Kudus, Magna, is his release clause finished at the end of July. So it can't be activated now until next year. So 85 million quid is the release clause, but that now has gone past this season's date. So now you'd have to agree a fee with West Ham, and they're going to want above the release clause because they know they can sit on the deal and sell him next summer for the release clause if they want. So that becomes a lot more tricky now. And again, I would argue, why did we allow Kudus to join West Ham if we would have wanted him? We could have gotten him when he was leaving Ajax. And we were linked with him, but we didn't. And again, I feel like we procrastinate too much as a football club and second guess ourselves, trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Whatever the fuck Michael Edwards' plan is, I just want to see it put into action so we can start to understand. Craig, this time last year we had Maka and Szoboszlai wrapped up. Look, different market, different situation. You know, we had a settled manager, and we had a less condensed summer because there was no big international competition like there is this summer, where you've got the Copa America and the Euros. Craig, FSG or Todd Bowling Clear Lake Capital? FSG. Over those two options, FSG. I think Todd's an idiot, in all honesty. I'd be very concerned if I was a Chelsea fan. Yeah, so over those two options, FSG. Because at least I know, and I can console myself with the fact that the club are going to be financially stable and exist and not be in trouble or not have FFP problems. You know, there's a lot to say for having a clear conscience as well and knowing that the club's in a healthy position. And I'm not advocating for Liverpool to just throw good money after bad. I'm just asking every 3 or 4 years for that couple of big signings, that couple of players that we go, yeah, he's ready to go. They're in the first team now. They're ready to go. What does the future hold for Jayden Danns? Well, his long-term future, I would say, it holds a very good career at Liverpool Football Club because he looks a tremendous young man. This season, I feel like the right thing to do would be a loan. Keep him with Arne Slot for pre-season. Give him some time with the manager. Let the manager have a look at him. I do think, though, the most important thing for Jayden Danns is minutes and that he continues to put the ball in the back of the net. And if you can do those two things at the right club for 1 year, then we get back a better player, a more experienced player, again with the confidence, because he knows where the back of the net is. The kid absolutely knows how to score goals. So I think the right loan move is going to be critical, and I don't know who that's going to be, but I feel like that's the right answer. He won't get enough football if he stays at Liverpool, either playing Premier League 2, he just won't get enough minutes. He needs to go and play a nice full season, bag himself 20-25 goals, and come back next year and him and Darwin can battle it out then for the starting spot through the centre. Do you think deals have been agreed but not being announced till after the Euros? It's absolutely possible, Dean. I couldn't rule it out. Because to agree with you on that, we'd have to agree with if there are players currently still playing that are good enough to come to us and that we'd be interested in. And I think most of us would like to believe that now we're down to the last 8 in both competitions. Yes, you would hope that we are after the players who are going deep in these competitions because they're generally the better players. But there are some other options as well, like Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, who's now out of the Euros. And we know that Brazil are playing Uruguay, so either Alisson's coming home or Darwin's coming home. And we're going to start to see lads knocked out now of tournaments. So yes, it's the right time to start getting these deals done. And yeah, I can see a situation where we might have a deal wrapped up and just waiting to announce it. I mean, I'm really interested to hear from Arne Slot tomorrow in his press conference. It's going to be really intriguing to see what he has to say. Right, so Romano has just tweeted to say, Juventus decision on Chiesa. Plan is to sell the winger this summer with his contract due to expire next June. Thiago Motta doesn't see Chiesa as a key part of his project. Juventus want to bring in a new winger after Coop Miners. So that to me is a signing that you could make and keep everybody at the club. I think Chiesa for the right number would be an astute addition, even if we don't bring in another forward or if we don't sell a forward. You know, sometimes a good deal comes up like that. And to be fair to Liverpool, we've been good at those opportunistic deals in the past. But at least now we know that Juventus realise they're going to lose him. And obviously with Italy out of the Euros, he's now on holiday, I'm sure, but potentially available. Chiesa is mid and injury prone. That's why I said for the right money. I don't think Federico Chiesa. I would put Federico Chiesa in the same bracket as Jota. Somebody who can come in and do a job very well, but somebody who you wouldn't be hanging a whole season on because you know about the injury track record. That's the way I'd look at Chiesa. For the right money, it's worth a punt, as long as he's not asking ridiculous wages. Bakayoko would be ideal. Absolutely, he's potentially a signing. Johan Bakayoko is somebody who's been linked with Liverpool for a while. I just don't know whether he's ready for the step up from PSV to Liverpool. It's a big jump from the Eredivisie to Liverpool. Not for me to say if he's ready or not, but he certainly is somebody that we've scouted extensively. Jason Hammond said, I can't lie, I can see us not getting a single player this summer. I'm genuinely tired of this waiting for the right player stuff. I don't blame you, mate. I think we will make signings, but I'm not going to put you down for feeling the way you feel, because I often feel similarly in that, why are we always waiting for the perfect option? You know, we can go back over the list of players, but Archie Gray, I can't believe we weren't in that conversation. I cannot believe for 40 million quid we let another potential generational talent just waltz off to a competitor in Spurs. It's madness. But we didn't have any in the case. Calafiori, we'd heard 2-3 weeks about him, and then we hear that we weren't even at the fucking negotiating table for Calafiori. It was Chelsea and Arsenal. So I think we're within our rights to ask, what on earth are we doing? I think everybody should be okay about that. So look, I'm going to finish up tonight by running through the news. And I want to just remind you guys that for the next 2 days, there won't be any live streams. We will be putting out videos, but of course we all want to enjoy the quarterfinals of the Euros, and they're taking place on Friday and Saturday. So we will be back live again on Sunday. So just want to put that out there before I finish up and go through tonight's news. And also want to remind everybody, we'd love you to come along and see us at our live shows in Cardiff and Liverpool. If you want to come along, but you just don't have the money, please email us. We'll sort that out for you, no problemo. Last 2 live shows that we're going to be doing. August the 4th, we're going to be in Liverpool at the Hot Water Comedy Club. a brand new venue. On August the 2nd, we're going to be at the Richard Burton Theatre in Cardiff, another wonderful venue. Right, so bear with me as I just fly through this list. Right, so the news today was as follows. We woke up to the mad story about Mats Wiefer and do Liverpool want them, yes or no, but eventually he ended up at Brighton. We don't know is the answer there. I don't believe that Liverpool were in for him, but we don't know for certain. I struggle to believe we were in for him because I believe if we were in for him, we'd have gotten him. Because why wouldn't he want to come to Liverpool? Manager who's already worked with Champions League football, and he would back himself to get in there and nail down the number 6 position. So I tend to go on the side of we weren't in for him, in all honesty. We also started off today with a bit of a funny story. Todd Cantwell was offered to Italian side Lecce by former Liverpool player turned agent Jose Enrique, with the move shared online after Jose Enrique sent the message to the wrong person. Wouldn't be trusting him as my agent. This next piece said, Villa take the lead in race. Aston Villa reportedly have a better chance of signing Mainz youngster Brahan Gruda. He's reportedly wanted by Liverpool, Newcastle and others, but Sport Bild has claimed that Unai Emery's Aston Villa are in pole position to make his signing. Then we spoke about a piece from Luke Edwards in the Telegraph that said there were conversations with Liverpool about Anthony Gordon, whose agent was pushing hard for him to get the move right up until the deadline. The player had wanted the transfer to go through and had been talking about it while on England duty to his international teammates. Then we got the confirmation that there's no issues around Mohamed Salah, Egypt and Liverpool with him not being included or being released for the Olympics. This piece from Paul Gorst said Liverpool have had no concern that Mohamed Salah is upset about the decision to omit him from Egypt's Olympic squad. The call was taken with the blessing of the number 11 himself after consultation, and that will see him ready for pre-season with Arne Slot. Again, more of the Mats Wiefer stuff. And then Glenn Johnson, he reckoned Liverpool would bite your hand off for a top 4 finish. So I want to know, do you agree with that? As a Liverpool fan watching this, would you bite my hand off for a top 4 finish? Because for me, that's defeatist. I think we can do better than top 4, and I think we should be expecting better than top 4. 1 second. Then there was that absolutely made up, pulled it out of their arse story from Centre Devils, who said, in the last few hours, Matthias de Ligt has rejected Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain. Both clubs were told that they wanted the player, but he only wants Manchester United. Absolute horseshit. Liverpool had no interest in Matthias de Ligt because we aren't stupid enough to pay him the money to watch him on the sidelines or give away penalties or be injured. Let him go to United and play for Ten Lasso. Then we haven't spoken about this one yet, but Nottingham Forest defender Murillo has Nottingham Forest defender Murillo has not ruled out signing for Liverpool and admitted that a move to Anfield would be a good opportunity for him in his career. What I didn't like about this though was he did name check Man City and Arsenal first, and then Liverpool came down on the list. So I would want a little bit more than somebody who wants to go to Manchester City, because that won't end well. Don't know if you've heard, but there's a small matter of 115, actually I think it's 129 charges. Then we spoke about the fact that managing Barca have said Nico Williams prefers to join Barcelona over a potential move to the Premier League, and Juan Laporta has given the green light for his signing. And what he meant there was he found another lever and he's tried to pull it. The problem is they're already struggling to register players and get through La Liga's own internal FFP system, so I don't see how they would have the money there. Last up, we spoke about the South American best 11 of all time, and there's some glaring omissions from this one. So this is the team that they've put out as the best 11 of all time from South America. Dida in goal, Cafu at right back, Roberto Carlos at left back, Thiago Silva and Passarella in the centre back positions, central midfield, Zico of Brazil and Vidal of Chile, then Ronaldinho on the left, Maradona on the right, with Pele and Leo Messi up top. Some notable absences from that list: Neymar, Ronaldo, Luis Suarez, and of course our very own Alisson Becker as well. So let me know if you agree. Is that the best South American 11 of all time? I think there's probably a few positions in there I'd change anyway. And then the last thing that we got tonight was from Fabrizio Romano, who said Juventus' decision on Federico Chiesa is clear. They plan to sell the Italian winger this summer, with his contract due to expire in 2025. And Thiago Motta doesn't see Chiesa as a key part of his project, and he's looking at bringing in another winger after they sign Koen Koopmeiners. So, my friends, that is it for tonight. We will have videos coming out tomorrow at about 12, 4 and about 10. So I will see you guys on Sunday for another live show. Enjoy the Euros, the Copa America and everything else over the next couple of days. Happy 4th of July again to all of our American viewers, and to all of you in the UK who went out and voted today in the general election. Well done for taking part in the democratic process. You've all done your nation a service. Right, I will catch up with you soon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, drop a like on the stream, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so, and enjoy your weekend. I'll catch up with you soon. Much love, my friends. Bye bye.